Well, Slut how you do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? You know who I am. Well, for the purposes of this video, I want to be the whiskey whisperer. We're going to do a couple martinis, or moontinis, if you will. I do like the moontini using an unaged whiskey rather than a gin or a vodka. It adds another layer to the classic cocktail. Let me fix this real fast here. There we go. Now we're back in business. Anyway, so here's what I got here. I'm finishing up the onions. I got just a little bit left. I bought this. Well, I've had this for about a year now. Bought this before my knee surgery last year, and it's been a year since the knee surgery. Man, Jim Tom's signature moonshine, unaged rye, mountain spirits distilled from grain. It is at 100 proof. Let me show you that. There we go. And what I have here is basically a classic dirty martini. I've got a moontini. I've got about 2¼ ounces of this, or about 2½ ounces of that, actually, about a ½ ounce of olive juice and 2 almond stuffed olives. So I've got 2 versions of this cocktail. The one's going to be slightly different, but I want to do kind of a classic dirty, but using this particular product rather than a gin or a vodka, if you will. That stuff is very good. It's a little more chewy than gin or vodka. You don't have those herbal notes or botanical notes that a gin brings, but it also has another layer of flavor that a vodka doesn't. I was warm one here in the Ozarks today. Happened to be off. So I kind of relaxed a little bit out back earlier, cleaning up my smoker, but it was hot, man. So I took a little break inside, had some lunch. I've been craving a cheeseburger, man. I just wanted a classic cheeseburger. But the last time I bought one now, I don't know, about 3 months ago or so, it was just so horrible. I haven't wanted one since. But I really wanted one, but I wanted one done my way. So I went to a local market, bought some Boston mix, 60% beef, 40% pork, with an 80-20 lean to fat ratio. Seasoned it my way. I used white American cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion. Oh man, it was good. It was a rather big burger, so I used 2 slices of cheese. One melted on top, one on the bottom, because that's how I like my burgers, man. Oh boy, was it good. So the last time I'd ordered one out, it was just so monumentally bad. I felt like crap the whole next day. Oh, it hit me so wrong that we haven't gone to fast food since then. We've been trying to eliminate the fast food element completely. My wife had since picked up an air fryer, so we're kind of doing our fast food at home, doing the chicken nuggets, fries, tater tots, whatever fast food we might want, cooking it in the air fryer, which is a little bit better than buying it out at a restaurant. In this case, with the burger, oh man, that burger was phenomenal, man. It was good. But I decided to come out front here in my bar to see how bad it was. It is a little warmer than I thought it was going to be honest with you, because I've got no air moving in here. If I had a fan right here, it'd be all right. I need a fan right here blowing on me here, because it was a little hotter than I had hoped. It is warm, man. But I had some beer earlier. I really was kind of having a little beer fatigue. So I thought I'd make a couple cocktails or martinis or moontinis, if you will. And my martini of choice is typically, well, a dirty. I do like them dirty. Like my martinis, like my women, good and dirty. Good and dirty, man. Good and dirty. Uh, anyways, I'm a bad man. Anyway, uh, Man, that was good. That was really good. I've got one more martini I'm going to share with you, but I've got it getting or staying cold. It is warm out here. It's warming up fast, so I'm going to have to knock this one back. It's warming up a little quicker than I had hoped. Anyways, I'll be right back. All right, so here's what I did different with martini number two. Here is I use this same product, about 2.5 ounces, but here's what I add. I call this uh, a dirty nutty or a nutty dirty. Anyway, dirty and nutty. What I did is I used this particular product again, and I added a half ounce of amaretto, couple dashes of toasted almond bitters, and yes, once again, almond stuffed olives. Are you sensing a theme? Anyway, this is one I haven't made before, so we'll see how she is. Oh, shit. That's delicious. That's just good, man. I don't care who you are. That's tasty. Wow, that really is good. So I've done sort of a version of this as a Manhattan with the nutty, not using the olives, of course, but you don't put olives in it, man. No, or an old fashioned. But I've never tried it as a martini or a moontini, if you will. Boy, it works somehow. It works. Oh, fuck nuggets. That is really tasty, though. Yeah, so I can taste the amaretto, kind of sweetens it up a little bit, but the toasted almond bitters takes it to a whole other level. You can really change a cocktail by just adding the bitter or changing the bitters that you might use. You don't typically use bitters in a martini of any kind, to be honest with you, but I wanted to add that other layer here. But I've noticed when I've done old fashions and Manhattans, just changing that one element changes your whole cocktail completely. That glare right there, I got to figure out how to get rid of. Oh, that didn't help. Get my head in front of that and cut that glare. No, that made it worse. Yeah, that's worse now, Tom. Let me see if I can adjust this. Oh, there we go. It's a little better. Anyway, anyway, I digress. Like I got it shining from behind me now. Here we go. I'm the second coming, damn it. Or coming for the second time. Something. Oh, mercy. Sometimes you can't help get into religious discussion. It seems like since the Pride Month, yeah, those on the extreme far right really seem to want to pick that fight lately. Been seeing it a lot on social media and at work, where you have certain folks that believe a specific way and think everybody ought to believe exactly the same way they do. It's just ridiculous. Uh, Nobody knows, or damn one of us knows what's happening next. Is that you get that select few that are so arrogant that like they know exactly what God wants and want you to believe exactly the same thing. I just don't subscribe to that level of arrogance or ignorance, for that matter. And quite frankly, the worst people I've ever met in my life were those that claim to be Christians, and the best people I've ever met in my life were those that said they were atheists. So. It seems like most of the evil that's been done in the world have been by those that claim to be religious of one sort or another. And there's certainly been enough atrocities in the name of Christianity to doubt its true nature. Anyways, I digress. But hey, it's a hell of a martini. That's a hell of a martini. That's really good, man. Yeah, like I said, I thought about. I mean, I have used the amaretto and the toasted almond in making a version of a Manhattan and a version of an old fashioned. But I never thought to do it in a martini until today. But I want to use this particular product because again, it's a little chewier than vodka, and it has a different dimension than say a gin. It doesn't give you those botanical and herbal notes per se, but you've got those big, those big unaged whiskey notes. So, anyways, anyway, I digress. This is absolutely brilliant, man. It adds just a little bit of sweetness, and that whiskey really absorbs that note. And again, I've got the almond stuffed olives, and I added just a little bit of toasted bitters, just a couple dashes, because again, kind of takes it to a whole other level. The bitters really adds more than you think it does. A lot of folks think it's a superfluous additive, but it's not. It really adds a lot of dimension to the cocktail, and you can change a cocktail just by changing the bitters you use. Uh, I always have a bottle of your traditional Angostura around. However, there are so many others available too. Don't be afraid to try a few things. I mean, I've got cherry, grapefruit, almond, plum, cranberry, black walnut, toasted almond. I mean, tobacco, root beer, and don't be afraid to experiment a little. I mean, not everything is going to be a home run, but sometimes just a single is nice. Just oh, that's all right. Sometimes it just gives you a starting point. So, anyways, I digress. And like I always say, I always do. You never know till you try. I mean, take a chance. I mean, the cocktail police aren't going to show up at your door. God knows I've given cause to once or twice, man, but they don't. Because I like to take some chances, man. I do. I really do. I want to. I want to. I got to know how far I can go. You never know you've gone too far until you've gone too far. You've got to cross that line before you realize, oh, I did cross that line right there. Whether we're talking cocktails or just life in general, don't be afraid to cross that line, man. Don't be a milk toast. Don't fall in line. Don't do what they expect you to do. Be daring. Be different. Sorry, get a little carried away there. Once again, you never know you've gone too far until you've gone too far. Jason, how are you, man? I'm going to post your comment there, my friend. As I finish up the second cocktail here, I have to go back inside because it didn't seem too bad at first, but I am sweating, man. I get some flop sweat. I'm sweating. It's hot out here, man. That's a tough question because I haven't really tried many or any, to be honest with you, Jason. There's been some prepackaged cocktails I've had in the past, but I haven't had any recently to really give an informed answer. I'm not typically a fan of canned cocktails, but there's none that I've tried recently to really give you an informed opinion. I'm very particular about cocktails. I like them a certain way in a certain strain. So I don't typically buy them because they're not cost effective to me. A Bacardi canned Bahama Mama 5.9. It's excellent. I haven't seen those. But then again, I don't really look in that section to be honest with you. So, but I'll take a look. My wife might enjoy some of those more than I would. A lot of well, speaking of the past, a lot of prepackaged cocktails that I've had way back when uh, are too sweet for me, and I'm a bit of a purist, right? The cocktails I like or kind of in its purest form. I don't like them very sweet, so uh, e- I don't typically order an old fashioned because I know it's just going to be too sweet for me. And I like a strong drink. If I'm gonna have a cocktail, I want to have a cocktail, man. I'd rather have two good ones than three weak ones. That's kind of how I am. I want a cocktail. So, But I remember way back when, as a kid, even when Jim Beam and Jack Daniels first started putting stuff in cans. The Jim Beam and Coke and whatnot. Those always tasted much too sweet for me. But again, I haven't had any recently to really give an informed opinion. To be honest with you. Uh, that really is nice. That kind of surprised me what that little bit of amaretto did to this cocktail. It just changed it completely. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom, the whiskey whisperer. I won't say whiskey because I am drinking whiskey. It is just an aged whiskey. I'm the whiskey whisperer, whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor with the man. All around good guy, Sláinte.